You open your inbox, and there it is. An offer too good to be true. A prince, stranded and needing your help, promises to share his fortune. Sounds suspicious, right? Well, it's actually a nightmare called the Nigerian email scam, one of the biggest internet frauds ever. Thousands have fallen for it, and it's still fooling people today. But why? Who's the actual person behind it? Let's dive right in. Nigerian Prince Scam, aka Advanced Fee Fraud or 419 fraud, is actually named after Nigeria's criminal code.
Nigerian email scams.
419, right?
Yes, you know why they call it the 419?
That's the penal code thing, right? Like the cop code?
It's the Nigerian penal code for fraud.
So, what is this scam about? Well, people are tricked into sending money or sharing their personal information, thinking they'll get rich. But here's the real question. How did this scam even begin? It's crazier than you think. Believe it or not, it goes way back, way before email even existed. This type of scam began in the 18th century and was called the Spanish prisoner scam. Back then, swindlers would send letters claiming a wealthy person was imprisoned in Spain, and for a small fee, you could help them escape, and in return, you'd get a cut of their fortune. Sound familiar? Fast forward to the late 20th century and this scam got a high-tech upgrade. When email started becoming popular in the 90s, scammers saw an opportunity. They switched from sending letters to flooding inboxes with emails from so-called Nigerian princes or government officials. But why Nigeria? During the 80s and 90s, Nigeria was going through serious political and economic chaos, and scammers saw this as a chance to play on the sympathies of foreigners. They crafted stories of wealthy Nigerians needing help to move their money out of the country due to corruption or civil war. It was an easy story to sell to people who didn't know any better. Now, with the internet, scams have only grown. These scammers don't even need to be from Nigeria anymore. They can be from anywhere. But the original idea remains the same. Promise a massive payout, ask for a small fee, and boom, you're hooked. Crazy, right? But here's the real kicker. People still fall for it. But how does it work today? It's surprisingly simple, but man, it is effective. The scam typically follows a pretty basic formula with some key elements that reel people in. First up, there's always a wealthy individual involved. It could be a Nigerian prince, a rich widow, or some high-ranking official. The story changes, but the premise is always the same. And of course, for your trouble, they'll give you a hefty chunk of that fortune. It's like dangling a gold carrot in front of you. Now, the scammer doesn't just stop there. They'll hit you with an appealing backstory. Maybe they're being chased by corrupt politicians, or there's a civil war going on and they need to flee the country. Whatever it is, it's designed to tug at your heartstrings. You feel like you're not just getting rich, but you're helping someone out of a tough situation. Then comes the call to action. This is the part where they ask you to send some money up front to cover fees, taxes, or legal expenses, so they can transfer the millions to you. And once you send that first payment, they'll ask for more, with new excuses every time. Eventually, when you start questioning things, the scammer disappears, and so does your money. But that's not all. There's another spin-off scam called the email hijacking or friends scam. Here, the scammer hacks into someone's email account, maybe a friend or coworker of yours, and sends you an urgent message. It could be about them being stranded in a foreign country, needing money for an emergency, or dealing with a crisis. Because it's coming from someone you know and trust, you're more likely to fall for it. Now, how do these scammers get your contact info in the first place? It's usually from email lists that they buy or steal. They might gather your email from websites, online forums, or social media. There are also data breaches where tons of personal information gets leaked and sold onto the dark web. And here's another trick. They'll often use fake email addresses that look super legit. It might even have .gov or .org in it to make it seem more official. They'll design the email to look like it's from a real government agency or bank, complete with logos and all to make it even more convincing. At the end of the day, the Nigerian scam works because it taps into human emotions, greed, sympathy, and urgency. The scammers know exactly how to push these buttons and lead people on until it's too late. Now you might ask, why do people even do these scams? Many scammers usually come from poorer but more educated backgrounds, where they have internet access but can't afford basic needs. In places like Nigeria, joblessness, especially after the economic crashes in the late 80s, pushed many people into online fraud. And with the rise of cyber cafes, it became easier to pull off these scams. So with all these scams floating around, you might wonder, what's being done to stop them? Well, governments, internet companies, and even some individuals have been fighting back hard against advanced fee fraud and those notorious 419 scams. In Nigeria, the government took a serious step in 2004 by setting up the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Their main goal? To crack down on financial crimes, including advanced fee fraud. They've had some success, too. By 2009, they even teamed up with Microsoft to launch a special smart technology called Eagle Claw. This tool was designed to track down fraudulent emails in real time. They hoped it could eventually warn up to 250,000 potential victims before they even clicked on the shady link. But it's not just the big guys doing the heavy lifting. There's a group of everyday people who've decided to fight scammers. They participate in something called scam baiting.
Can you see the permissions at the left-hand side?
All right, Mr. As you can see, I know exactly who you are and what you do. So,
I don't care.
Amit, just listen to me, man. I have a few questions for you. You want to answer those
Sure.
questions? All right, so I'm going to start off easy. You're a scammer, correct?
We do.
Yeah, okay. So how long have you been doing this?
I'm sorry?
How long have you been doing this, the scamming?
2 months.
Amit, you have been scamming since 2017. You don't have to lie
Sorry?
to me. I have all the answers to my own questions. You don't have to lie to me, Amit. I know all the answers to all my own questions, okay?
Who are you?
I know exactly who you are. I know what you do. I know where you live. I know who your family is. I know your phone number, your address.
Alright.
They pose as potential victims, playing along with the scammers for as long as possible. The whole point is to waste the scammers' time. If they're busy chasing fake targets, they have less time to scam actual individuals. It's almost like a reverse con. And then there's the Artists Against 419, a group of volunteers that's been helping take down scam websites. They've built a public database where people can report these scam sites, which they then share with financial institutions and cybersecurity companies to get the sites shut down. They even collaborate with the Anti-Phishing Working Group to make sure their data gets into the right hands. Thanks to efforts like these, we've seen some progress in the fight against scams. But as with anything on the internet, it's a constant game of cat and mouse. The fight's not over yet. As if the Nigerian email scam wasn't already bad enough, over time it's morphed into so many different versions that it's almost like a shapeshifter. These scammers have become incredibly inventive, creating various twists on the same old scam and targeting people in ways you might not even expect. One of the biggest variations is the employment scam. This one goes after people who are actively looking for jobs. Imagine posting your resume on a job site, hoping for a new opportunity, and then bam, you get an exciting offer with an incredible salary and benefits. The scammer, posing as an employer, tells you that to work in their country, you'll need a special work permit. And wouldn't you know it, they conveniently give you the contact details for a government official to help with that. Of course, this official is fake, and they're ready to drain your wallet with fees for this so-called work permit. Next up, we have the lottery scam. Who doesn't dream of winning the lottery, right? Well, that's what these scammers are banking on. They send you a fake notice saying you've won a lottery. The only problem is, you've never entered one. The scammers ask for personal details like your name, address, and occupation. Once they have those, they hit you with the classic, "Before we can release your winnings, we need a small fee for insurance or registration." And once you pay up, guess what? They come back with another fee. It's a never-ending cycle. Then we have the most emotionally manipulative scams out there, the romance scam. In this version, the scammer creates a fake persona and approaches the victim on a dating site or social media, posing as someone looking for love. They build trust and an emotional connection by posting pictures of someone attractive to keep up the act. Once they've got the victim hooked, they hit them with a sob story. Maybe they need money to fly over and visit, or they're stuck abroad and need help to escape some dangerous situation. And sadly, it works more often than you'd think. But wait, there's more. Sometimes the scammer will even combine the romance angle with the original Nigerian Prince twist. They say they need help moving money out of the country and promise to share their wealth. It's like a double whammy. The victim thinks they're in love and about to become rich. Over the years, these scammers have gotten more sophisticated, and when it comes to the consequences of the falling Nigerian email scam, the impact can be staggering. The financial losses are just the tip of the iceberg. Many people do not even report being scammed because they are too embarrassed to admit they fell for it. In 2006, a government report revealed that Americans lost a whopping £198.4 million to internet fraud. That breaks down to an average loss of about £5,100 per incident. Even in the UK, scams were costing the economy about €150 million annually, with the average victim losing around €31,000. Fast forward to 2019, and these scams were still pulling in £700,000 a year, with each victim losing an average of £2,133. But the financial toll is only a small part of the story. The emotional and psychological damage can be devastating. In one tragic case, a man set himself on fire after realizing he had been duped out of £1.2 million. Victims face severe emotional fallout. They might struggle with trust issues, feeling betrayed not just by the scammers, but by their judgment. In extreme cases, the fallout can be so severe that it leads to divorce, criminal charges, or worse. These scams not only drain bank accounts, but can leave deep, lasting scars on a person's life. Mind you, the Nigerian Prince Scam is still lurking in our inboxes. You might think, aren't people wise to this scam by now? Well, it turns out that scammers are incredibly creative, and the scheme is constantly evolving. The scam keeps its edge because it adapts to the times. Traditionally, scammers relied on sheer volume. The more emails they sent, the more likely they were to catch a victim. But now they've stepped up their game. Scams are getting more personalized, thanks to the abundance of leaked or stolen personal information floating around online. If your details are out there, scammers can tailor their pitches to sound alarmingly convincing. And let's be honest, the slow response from the Nigerian government hasn't helped either. Some people have even suspected that certain officials might be turning a blind eye, or worse, getting involved. Now you might be asking yourself, how am I supposed to protect myself from these? Well, we got your backs. Let's now take a look at some foolproof ways to protect yourself from falling prey to these scams. 1. Be skeptical. If an email promises you a fortune or just a small financial assistance, don't buy it. It's almost certainly a scam. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. 2. Keep personal details private. Don't share your email, phone number, or any other personal information publicly. The more scammers know about you, the easier it is for them to craft a convincing lie. 3. Multiple email accounts. Separate your personal and professional emails. This helps minimize spam and makes you a harder target for scammers. 4. Don't reply to spam. Even if you're tempted to see what the scammer is up to, resist the urge. Responding confirms that your email is active and gives the scammer another piece of valuable information. 5. Be cautious with social media invitations. Not everyone who sends a LinkedIn request or Instagram DM is genuine. Be wary of new contacts offering investment opportunities or other deals. While it's nearly impossible to keep all spam out of your inbox, these steps can help protect you from becoming a scam victim. Better to be safe and skeptical than sorry and scammed. Now, what do you think of the Nigerian email scam? Have you ever received a suspicious email? And how do you stay protected online? Share your experiences and tips in the comments section below. Make sure to leave a like if you found this video informative, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications for more. Thanks for watching.